And you can be seated. With our invocation, we begin, thank you, Creator Source, for bringing us all together. As we come together, we open our hearts in gratitude for this space, this opportunity for friendship and our connection to Spirit. And with this, we say thank you. I want to welcome you all to Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church this morning. We are a church that is led by a board of trustees. My name is Carolyn Sheets. I'm the president, and we are a wonderful group of 8. We are glad to be here in a time of renewal for our church that began officially January 2023, when we had our first board retreat with the wonderful Jennifer Scholes, who came down from Grand Marais to facilitate us. And today, when I do the announcements in just a few little bits, you will hear how our renewal is progressing. And with that, I want to set our intention for our church and our gathering here today. We are fortunate to have a variety of speakers for Sunday services. By using guest speakers, we gain wisdom from all those who share. This is a church where we can worship the God of our own understanding, a place to experience joy and be uplifted, a place where we can gather strength and inspiration to share with all we meet throughout the week. We invite all of us together to share in this celebration of life, to nourish our spirits, and to enjoy our company of kindred spirits. Blessed be. And now we will have our first hymn.
Number 14, it brings a song, All Things Bright and Beautiful.
And we will rise. And we will bring your prayer cards with, because we'll read things from that next. And still standing, let's take our prayer card. And we're going to look together at our Declaration of Principles. We believe, reading it together, God is the eternal source and creator of all and is present in everything. Our eternal soul, endowed with free will, grows through many lifetimes. Communication occurs between the physical and spiritual worlds. Prayer and meditation strengthen our connection to the divine. All healing comes from Source. Seeking this for ourselves and compassion for others' suffering is the highest priority. Because we are all one, what we do unto others, we do unto ourselves. The choice of love is always open for every soul. Principles leads us to grow in divine love. In a breath, a moment before we go on. There's some big things. We all have different versions in our minds and hearts. However, it speaks to the overarching beliefs of most of us in the church. And now we turn to our church affirmation at the bottom of that page. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. As our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all the members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership and people to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. You can be seated, please. I want to announce today that our speaker, Robert Aho, is here. And he's a friend. He's here many times. He's really part of our church family. And these prayer flags are the subject of his talk. These are the prayer flags that he's going to teach us about the prophecy from the 8th century by a great spiritual teacher in Buddhism, sometimes called the second Buddha. So we are honored to have Robert, and really I got reminded as I went over his bio myself, he's had 2 near-death experiences, 2016, 2021. And out of that came an immense commitment to speaking and writing. He's a poet. He's an author of 2 books. He's an architect, still practicing sustainable building. And he is probably, well, no, he's not probably, he's able to join us as we walk around the church this after lunch, not real late after lunch. I'm hoping about 12:15 so we don't get too late. And we are all of us that wish to, going to look outside and see how and where we want to put the prayer flags. We expect them to be at both entries, but that's about all we know. And so we have to figure out how we're going to hang them there and what shape they're going to be in. So this is a very big day for us as a step forward into our signage outside. It comes under that category, and I'm going to sketch out just a little bit here. Starting in January 2023, when we had our board retreat, with a commitment to renew the church, we set intentions for ourselves. One of them was signage. There really was not enough signage. So now this is the phase 1 of our signage setting up. We have a sign coming for our downstairs door. It's a mirror echo of the one on the big one outside. And that's going to be on our door. And then we're also going to have the prayer flags. So we are, that's phase 1. Phase 2 next summer will be some bigger other wooden sign down at the lower entry as well, to be seen what that looks like. Now we're also in phase 1 of our landscaping project. And that is being led by Denise. And I can say briefly that we're going to be addressing the fact that our current plantings are impossible for us to maintain unless we spent a lot of money to hire a landscaping firm to keep up with them. So anybody who wishes to take plantings, flower, perennial plants from our garden on this side along 8th Street is welcome to do it. This is not going to happen until August at the earliest, and so we have time. But we want you to be aware there's going to be changes in our landscaping as we simplify and start this year and finish next year. And Denise. Well, either come up to this or do it, because we're going to have more time to do it another time in detail.
Just one sentence.
Absolutely.
The hostas that are along the sidewalk in the front are also available because they're just eaten by deer all the time and you can hardly see them. So those are also available for the taking along with the other plants, but not the daylilies.
We have plans. We had a landscape person coming out, gave us an estimate this week. We have a second estimate coming, so we're working on it. We also have phase 1 of the clean and clear of the inside of our church that went on last summer, and now we're going to have volunteer days again. And we will do phase 2 of clean and clear on the inside of our church. We're going to have phase 1 of our exterior was last summer. We did have phase 1 of our exterior with maintenance and repairs. We're going to have phase 2 this summer during volunteer days. So the volunteer days are coming up at the end of June, starting on the 28th, Friday, and we will have a, at lunch, we're going to get votes on whether people want to do it in the morning, on Friday, or even on Saturday, and so forth. But we will have a nice set of about 10, 12 days for us to work together as a committed group taking on different parts of our clean and clear and outdoor maintenance and repair. So that's all coming up, folks, this end of this week. And also I want to say we had our solstice gathering. It was a real wonderful event, and really it set the model for probability that we'll repeat it 4 times a year with the equinoxes and the solstices. And it's, in essence, it's 3 parts. People could come for whatever part or parts they could put in their schedule and had the interest in. First was a drumming circle for about an hour. Then we had a potluck for about an hour. And then we had a burning ceremony to set our intention with the full moon and with the solstice for attracting more like-minded people to our membership in our community here. And so that burning ceremony is also something we can repeat. And so that was only about a half an hour. So it was a nice model. We can tweak it as however we wish, but it set a intention to go forward with itself as well. And now let's see what other announcements I would need to make. We have a long time member of our community. Audrey Fisher has passed. She was a long-time member working with committees and leadership for the years that Reverend Hutchinson was here, and it's next Saturday morning. Details are on the website and in your emails. And then we also have, let's see. I want to give the full title of Robert's talk, which is that we will be hearing about not only the request for urgent prayers between 2024 and 2030 that were requested in the 8th century. So this was a very profound prophet that is still very much affecting the Buddhist communities, and it's an opportunity for us to use collective mind, collective merit, collective mantra to deter great danger and destruction on the earth by 2030. So it's a very worthy cause, and it's a very profound example of what it means to be an interfaith church, where we honor many paths. We honor all paths that people would say is their walk to God. So that is our opportunity now with Robert and with our timing of having the prayer flags. And a quick note, mediumship is being requested by people. We're up to 4 people. We need 6 to 10 to have a workshop, or 2 as people wish. So there'll be sign-up sheet again downstairs for that. And our summer choir will coincide with the volunteer days, which is the opportunity that we will carry on a community choir that is simply for the fun of singing, not necessarily to perform. Barbara With will be here, and we'll be able to enjoy that process of getting group singing started together. And I'm finding interest in little pockets here and there. I've now established, just by getting to know all of us, that there are 3 young couples who all like to sing. So who knows what could happen. So we have that coming up as well. And with that, I say, with that, I want to turn us to our prayer bowl. And we know that it's available for prayers with an intention all the time, 24/7. And right now I ask, as we prepare to pray for the names in the bowl, who else might have any prayers they would like to request?
I want to thank everyone for all your prayers for my sister Molly. She and her daughter walked the half marathon yesterday. It was so amazing. I mean, you should have seen her coming. I was right by the finish line volunteering, and as she was coming across the finish line, she and her daughter looked $1,000,000. They just looked awesome. And she was wearing a shirt that said "straight out of chemo." And her daughter had, "I support my mom through her cancer journey." And they put on pictures on Facebook of all the kids who had come up, with her daughter Karen, and they had T-shirts supporting Grandma too. And then the other thing is, my brother-in-law Rich, who was supposed to have surgery on Thursday, did not have surgery on Thursday because the operating room was not sufficient to monitor whether or not he would be having a heart event at the same time as having his surgery. And he has had heart troubles in the past. Right in the middle of COVID, he passed out in Amity Creek area and nearly died out there, and from a heart incident. So they're waiting on that surgery, but keep him in your prayers because he does have a prostate cancer that he needs to get removed. And I think that's it. I just wanted to update you on my sister Molly. It was amazing.
So it's Molly and Rich. All right, anybody else?
So prayers for Sandra in Iowa. She had to evacuate her home yesterday due to the floods there. She just lost her husband 3 months ago, moved from Phoenix to Iowa. She herself has heart trouble, and she's going to have surgery soon, so she needs some prayers.
And so the names again are?
Sandra.
Sandra. Okay. Anybody else?
Everybody knows Sue Luick Wagner. She got a new hip on Friday, solstice. Yeah,
She passed.
no, she got a new hip. She's doing good, I'm sure.
Oh, goodness. Okay. I'm thinking she's really young. Okay. All right. Well, we can send prayers of gratitude for Sue. Yes. And here's Carol.
Continued healing for Marky Mark, and as he just becomes totally perfect okay, in his health. So I just thinking of him. Thank you.
Yes, it's the first time in a couple of weeks he hasn't been here, so we're going to continue to keep lifting Marky Mark up for health. And I had a request for Flip Arculary, which we actually have already been praying for his cancer journey, because I caught it on Facebook. Flip Arculary, who's the son of Mitzi, who spoke here about a year ago, and the son of Stephen Arculary, who we've been praying for his amputated leg to heal enough to have his prosthetic. So that's Flip Arculary. And then also Julian. I've been in touch with Julian, and on solstice, he was in Chicago with his brother-in-law and sister in a didgeridoo chorus that was up to the standards of a big gathering, a big city like Chicago, didgeridoos and so on. And so he's looking forward to coming back here. He appreciates all our prayers. So that's for Julian. And then I also want to add Virginia, who was in our presence quite infrequently, but still really cared about our church. And I realized we don't know where she is. We haven't been able to find her. We believe she might be in a nursing home in Duluth. And so I realized we could be lifting her up and having prayers for Virginia as well as we find what's happening for her. And then, as always, my friends, Mother Earth, Gaia, in her great path of ascension, and all of us and our growing frequencies, prayers for her too. And at this time now, we'll have in the silence, Carol will tell us the number. 7-4. Which will be followed by brief silent prayer, and then it will be Robert's turn to begin. And let us pray. Amen. Blessed be. And now, as we turn our attention to Robert's talk, he and I have just agreed that this will be part one of something that can be completed because he had already so much to bring to us. It was going to be hard to fit in. So I want you to know that that's how it's going to go with Robert. Thank you so much. Here we go, Robert.
Michael, did you want to sing first or at the end of what I? What would you like, Robert? Does it matter with you?
No, I would say you introduce the subject a little bit and bring Michael in a little bit.
Okay. At the end of my talk, like we were talking.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
that-
but I don't want it at the end
Oh.
because we'll run out. We might
Okay.
run out of time.
All right.
So,
Speaker.
speaker first, and it's a song that you can insert in a little while.
This song has a lot to do with my talk here, so let's just do it as as we, I'll talk first and we'll do it at the end. How's that sound? It'll work better. All right. Ong Jan Ojin Abjan Jambe Magesar Dambula Ya Jan Jojin Osdrubne Pema Jonas Jasutrak Godu Kadro Mambo Gor Keji Jasu Dag Jubji Jinjas Labchir Jasu Sol Guru Pema Siddhi Hong Om Ma Hong Vajra Guru Pema Siddhi Hong Om Ma Hong Vajra Guru Pema Siddhi Hong Om Ma Hong Vajra Guru Pema Siddhi Hong. So this is the 7-line prayer. I sing it in Tibetan every day, just like that. And it's bringing blessings. And it brings blessings to all beings, all of us. But just as we were in our first hymn, all creatures great and small, all beings, all the creatures. We're all beings of light. We're all one, just as we recited at the very beginning as we began this service. We're all one. This light brings us together. This light is what we experience when we die. This is our transition through this life. This is the transition through the death bardo. It's all, everything. No matter how dark we may feel our life has become, no matter how difficult our life has become, this light always pervades, always. It's who we are. This is our essence. And so I began with the 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche. This is a statue of him from around the 8th century. He was in the Himalayas. He's regarded as an emanation of Buddha Shakyamuni. And so the second Buddha, and it's a little hard to understand because, okay, they say, well, that's, him, Buddha Shakyamuni reborn. It's an emanation of this primordial wisdom in a form that we can see and we can understand. Because we're surrounded by these wisdom beings, this light, these Buddhas. A Buddha is someone who has discovered that they are one with the light through direct experience. Now, I'll read the English translation. A lot of people chant an English translation of the 7-line prayer. Hung, in the northwest of the land of Odiyana, in the center of a blooming lotus flower, is the one with supreme wonder Siddhi, the renowned lotus-born Padmakara. Surrounded by a vast retinue of dakinis, following in your footsteps, I pray, please come and bestow your blessings. Guru Pema Siddhi Hung. So a siddhi is a realization. It's S-I-D-D-H-I. That means you've realized the essence of who we really are. You've realized this light, this oneness. You realize that. Padmakara is just another name for Padmasambhava, which is his name, or Guru Rinpoche, or Guru Padmasambhava. Dakinis are wisdom beings, female wisdom beings. And they are the essence of emptiness. Emptiness, this open space. This is the essence of enlightenment, when we open our heart and mind to what is, as it is. We don't become enlightened by believing something. We become enlightened by simply opening our heart and mind, in essence, letting that light shine within us. That's the essence of enlightenment. So this interfaith church here, we have, and I consider myself a member of this church, we have this essence of enlightenment mind. We are opening our heart and mind to other possibilities. We're not tightly trying to cram our beliefs into a small dark box. We're opening ourselves. That's enlightenment mind. Sometimes you might hear the term bodhicitta. But that's, whether it was done intentionally or by simply feeling a certain way or following some, some words, some text, doesn't really matter. We're practicing bodhicitta right here. We're opening our hearts and minds to an interfaith community. We're opening our hearts and minds to many different views. We're not constraining ourselves to a tight, rigid, dark, limited box. We're trying to become unlimited, which is what we really are. That's what we really are. We have infinite potentiality. And when we meditate, when we pray, we get these little flickers of light. We see that. It starts to become obvious. When you die, there's that light at the end of the tunnel that people talk about. We're all going to experience that, whether it's just, a mad rush through the light into another rebirth, or you might remain there because you might become totally enlightened and have no reason to come back to earth. The possibilities are endless. Those are only two. So right now there's this call for very intensive practice to avert some disasters. Now, I should say, when I was in the death bardo and I was trying to decide whether I should come back here into this old body, this old decrepit body that's had too many surgeries and too many problems, I felt great compassion. And it was a moment where I hesitated only because of the pain. And then I realized, you know what, that doesn't matter. I can endure any amount of pain. That's no problem. I'm going to come back. Okay? And so that was tapping into this bright light, this enlightenment mind, this nature of mind. Some very advanced Buddhist practitioners, they go from talking about mind to nature of mind. And that's because we've essentially entered that mirror of our real condition. We realize that, all of this that we've done thus far is like a reflection in a mirror. And we didn't realize that a mirror has infinite potentiality. We didn't know who we really were. We didn't understand that light. We didn't understand that we didn't have to engage in very destructive acts being part of this world. We can live in this world and do immeasurable benefit for others. We have this ability. Now, some people, I have heard from different types of people who have different types of spiritual practices. I won't even say what that is, but some people are very fatalistic about it. They think that, well, it doesn't matter, it's just going to happen and there's nothing you can do about it. I didn't see that when I was in the death bardo. I was in the death bardo. It was my decision to come back here. My decision. It wasn't fate. It wasn't determined. It wasn't preordained. I decided to come back here. That was my decision. And coming back here it was my decision to talk to people and to try to help people any way that I could. So I began writing books, I began giving talks, and, I'm doing a newsletter, I'm doing podcasts, I'm coming here to speak. Okay, so all of this, it's all with the same intention to help all beings. It's the same intention, realizing that we are all one, but so many beings suffer, and it's such terrible suffering. So Padmasambhava spoke about the future, and he had a few things to say about that. And I would say one of his prophecies has come true. One that they made a movie about this called "When the Iron Bird Sing." When the Iron Bird Flies is the name of the movie, and that is something that I think it's probably I think you can probably watch it for free now. If not, it was on Netflix. But you can watch that, and it talks about his prophecies. So the English translation of his first prophecy was regarding what's happening here. When the iron bird flies and horses run on wheels, the Tibetan people will be scattered like ants across the world, and the Dharma will come to the land of the red man. That's from the 8th century. People in Europe and Asia didn't know anything about North and South America at that time. They didn't know what it meant. The iron bird flies, what? When the horses run on wheels, what? What is that? Okay, so now the Dharma, that just means teachings, but in this instance, I think it means Buddha Dharma, or the Buddhist teachings will come here. And that has happened. Now, I selected just a small portion of another prophecy, and it has to do with our ability to pacify negative forces. It says, in every direction, pacify and turn back all war and invasion by military forces. Now, in 2030, it's been prophesized that we're in great danger of nuclear war. We're in great danger of armies all around the world rising and causing indescribable destruction and death everywhere. But we have the ability to start doing little things. Maybe we chant a mantra a few times a day. We're kind to everybody we meet. We open ourselves up. Our own enlightenment will help this situation and can avert this type of tragedy. So a number of lamas and quite a few of their followers are actually encouraging a lot of spiritual practice right now, accumulating merit, utilizing your mind to help visualize a brighter and better future. Now, merit. These prayer flags are merit. When you hang a prayer flag, and these have different symbols on them, and I saw that Padmasambhava is on one of the on one of the flags. There are auspicious symbols, other types. They're in 5 different colors. Those symbolize the elements. And in Tibetan Buddhism, it's mind, which is blue, air, which is green, water, which is white, fire, red, and earth, yellow. Okay, so these are all symbols of our physical condition. We, in a physical body, are composed of these elements. So we're not quite, we're not exactly talking about the periodic chart. We're talking about something that's a little more basic than that, that it's just we have these characteristics. So we hang the prayer flags. We always want to have the blue flag a little bit higher than the others. That's important. Usually that's, it's mined, so we want to put that a little bit above. And so these prayer flags, when the wind blows, all these blessings get carried into the wind. So when we hang prayer flags, we're creating merit by having something that sends blessings. That's kind of it's a very passive type of blessing, you know. We're not really doing much other than hanging the prayer flag someplace. But every time the wind blows, it carries those prayers and those blessings all around the world. So that's something we can do to accumulate merit. When we accumulate merit, our heart and mind open more. So that's the important aspect of accumulating merit. It allows us to, by being good, we can do more good. It's a simple way of saying it, you know. So the merit itself opens us up to the possibilities of the light. So when we start doing nice things for others, it makes us happy. And it makes us want to do more good things for others. We become light workers. Everything we're doing is for the benefit of all beings. So this in its essence is the enlightenment mind attitude of bodhicitta. So there's a lot of crossover with that. You know, we could say, you know, we could look at any major religion and see that this aspect of merit is something that runs very, very deeply in all of the major religions and traditions. Doing merit is essential. Why is that? Because we all have we have all got a little clue about what's really real. What's real is that light. The rest of this, it's more like an illusion, more like a dream. And when we start opening our heart and mind, we start realizing that, oh, I thought all this was real, I was taking it too seriously, and then you start to see, oh, it's really not, it just felt real, it just felt painful, it felt like it was really serious. And when you get that cosmic joke, you're gonna laugh, because it is so apparently obvious, and we miss it all the time. So, so the other thing that we can do here is chanting mantras, and they had on this one website that Carolyn sent me in the direction of, I saw, well, that's exactly what needs to happen. We need to chant mantras on a regular basis. So one of them has to do with Guru Rinpoche, and it's the Guru Rinpoche mantra. It's Om Ma Hong Vajra Guru Pema Siddhi Hong. Just like that. And I think it's best if you sing it. You can chant it. Om Ma Hong Vajra Guru Pema Siddhi Hong Om Ma Hong. So this here, decided I'd bring my personal mala with me today. This is a mala. It's got 108 beads, and this one has separation beads that are turquoise. And I use this to accumulate mantras. So this mantra, Oma Hong Vajra Guru Pema Siddhi Hong. You can also say Oma Hong Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hong. Benza is the Tibetan way of pronouncing Vajra. Vajra is the Sanskrit word. So Oma Hong is body, speech, and mind. Vajra Guru Pema. Vajra is the Dharmakaya. Guru is the Sambhogakaya. And Siddhi, Vajra Guru Pema, and then Pema is the Nirmanakaya, and then Siddhi is your realization, and Hung, of course, is mind. Hung generally is synonymous with mind. So you take a mala like this, if you have one or are able to acquire one. This is the Guru bead. So when you're counting, you never count the Guru bead. You go all the way around, and then you come back to the Guru bead, then you turn around and go back the other way, because you don't want to go over the head of your Guru. So it's a way of counting that. In Tibetan Buddhism, they use these a lot. And so you go, Om Ma Hung Vajraguru Pema Siddhi Hung, Om Ma. You just count it with your thumb, Om Ma Hung Vajraguru Pema Siddhi Hung. Count it, count it, count it. And these little things that I have on the dangling on these red strings have to do with, these are counters. So like if you do 100 and 10 and 100 and 1,000, you know, if you're going to count up to 1,000,000, you're going to need a bunch of these because to count them the right way, it's quite an arduous thing. 100,000 is a lot, and at one point in my spiritual practice, I was accumulating 100,000 of different mantras and practices. So it takes a very, very long time. 100,000 is a much bigger number than we realize. The other mantra that we can do is the Vajrasattva mantra, and that's for the elimination of obstacles. Om Vajrasattva Hung, Om Vajrasattva Hung. Or that's the short version, and the short version and the 100-syllable mantra are the same amount of blessings, so it's probably easier to do the short blessing. I always did the long version because it just felt so good. And so when we say elimination of obstacles, it's things like nuclear war, destruction, even our own disturbing emotions. We're eliminating that. We're purifying that. We purify our own life and bring it more into the light. So I'll do just one recitation of the 100-syllable. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manapalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Tishtadredo Me Bhava Sutoshaya Me Bhava Suposhaya Me Bhava Anurakta Me Bhava Sarvasiddha Me Prayatsa Sarvakama Sutsa Me Siddham Shreyam Kuruhung Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarvatathagata Vajramami Munsa Vajri Bhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ah. Now that mantra is 3 days of retreat in order to really understand the practice. But you can just say it, and you can find the mantra if you need a copy of this, or you can find it online and put your own paper together for your own spiritual practice if you want to learn that. It takes a little bit of time before you are able to recite it from memory. So these. The prophecies of Padmasambhava, creating blessings, doing things out of kindness of heart, helping all beings, doing mantras, hanging prayer flags. These seem like they're, little things. Seems a little bit like magical thinking, but when you really delve into this, you realize the power of mantras, the power of song, the power of prayer. These things transform your life. These are things that you can do on a daily basis that will, we've got a few years. These gradually nudge those negative forces away so that it won't impact us as harshly or maybe not at all. If the whole world was doing mantras, we wouldn't have any war. We would be very nice to each other. This is the basis of our own enlightenment mind. And so one thing to remember, the 7-line prayer, the visualization as you visualize Padmasambhava in front of you, in reality, you and Padmasambhava are the same. We're one. You look at Padmasambhava internally. You visualize that this is really who you are. This is who we all are. So let's move forward, and I hope you all will make the commitment to do mantras on a regular basis every day. It's a small thing. You don't need too many minutes. You can do just a few minutes, and I think it'll be very wonderful that way. Okay, so that's it for today. I can talk about it more. I could talk for days and days about this. So Michael, You and I chose a song, and everybody has a copy here. And please come up and sing this song and lead us. And thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Robert. I took some notes. Robert talked about opening our heart and mind to the possibilities. And this song is all about innocence. In your innocence and trusting, He will teach us to be free. This is written by one of our present day prophets. Unfortunately, he passed a few years ago, but John Denver wrote this song. So you speak to me of sadness and the coming of the winter, fear that is within you now that seems to never end, and the dreams that have escaped you, and the hopes that you've forgotten. And you tell me that you need me now and you want to be my friend. And you wonder where we're going, where's the rhyme and where's the reason? And it's you who cannot accept. It is here we must begin to seek the wisdom of the children and the gentle ways of flowers in the wind. Oh, the children and the flowers are my sisters and my brothers. Their laughter and their loveliness could clear a cloudy day, like the music of the mountain and the colors of the rainbow. They're a promise of the future and a blessing for today. Though the cities start to crumble and the towers fall around us, the sun is slowly fading and it's colder than the sea. It is written from the desert to the mountains, they shall lead us by the hand and by the heart, and they will comfort you and me. In their innocence and trusting, they will teach us to be free. For the children and the flowers are my sisters and my brothers. Their laughter and their loveliness could clear a cloudy day. And the song that I am singing is a prayer to non-believers. Come and stand beside us. We can find a better way. Thank you.
And now, my friends, our offering. Thank you. Thank you.
So together as a group of spirits of the universe and spirits that can learn and change and offer the light, compassion, and love that we are to ourselves and each other, day and night, every day. So we come in the oneness of spirit. Oh yes, and that oneness is in the universe too. There's a place in the universe of spirit that understands this and feels this. We get to go home there too. So light, compassion, and love that we are together. Amen, amen, amen.
Thank you, Jerry. And my friends, we gather after our brief benediction. May our prayers flow out of our hearts like the breeze on the flags, our prayers for the earth and our prayers for each other. Blessed be. Come join us in our circle for our last song Bring your prayer card if you like.